I'm Fritz Nelson. I'm here with Eric Chang, who's the director of photography for Lytro, who has the much talked about camera that is going to change digital photography. So obviously it looks different, but what else besides how it looks is different?
Well, this camera captures a fundamentally different kind of data than traditional cameras do. So we call it a light field camera because we capture the light field, which has been defined in computer graphics for a long time, but it's basically every ray of light traveling in space at every point in space. So what we're doing is retaining that directional information along with color, luminosity, the things that normal cameras capture.
Is that more data than the normal camera would capture?
It is more data, but it's really a fundamentally different kind of data. So, we may not capture more absolute bits, in a file, for example, but the type of data we capture is much richer. And so what we do is then computationally project images out of this data that we capture. So what you see on the web, for example, if you were to look at one of these Lytro pictures, is a picture focused in a particular place. But you can in fact interact with those pictures and refocus the camera after the fact because we're using this rich data to reconstruct the picture after the fact.
And how are you able to do that? I mean, technologically speaking, what's different about this?
So, well, fundamentally what's different is that direction of light. So that's key. So if you imagine, two light rays coming into a traditional camera, and they hit your sensor or film plane, and they don't hit the same place. Well, that's basically blur, right? It's not sharp what you've captured. But we have the direction of information for those two light rays, so we know that if the sensor were a little bit further back, they might actually meet, and in that case, you'd have a sharp picture. And so what we're doing is actually virtualizing that sensor position, essentially saying, what if the sensor were here? What would the picture look like? And in fact, some parts of the picture pop into focus.
Okay, so besides the ability to focus, what are some of the things that people will be able to do with the photos they take?
So besides refocus, in the long term, actually not too long term, but we'll have an all-in-focus mode, so everything is in focus. And we will also be able to show 3D versions of these pictures using that raw data that's collected. And also have parallax or perspective shift. So if you imagine scooting your head around a little bit to one side and peeking around an object, we can make those sorts of shifts in the pictures as well.